Hello, sixth graders. We are in Unit 6, our integers unit. Our lesson here is on absolute value and comparing and ordering integers. Lots of learning targets here. Make sure to write them all down. I can use integers to describe situations. I can determine the absolute value of a number or expression. I can compare and order integers using inequality symbols, and I can graph integers on a number line. So make sure you have the title, unit, all written down. Here we go. Okay, some questions just to think about here. How do we differentiate between what we have and do not have for money? How do you describe your location when scuba diving or mountain climbing? How do you know who is ahead in the sport of golf? What do all these numbers have in common in terms of math and numbers? And they kind of all have to do with integers. Remember, anytime we see this image, it means there's vocab words that we need to write down. I'll zoom in a little here. So pause, make sure you have these 3 words with the definitions written down in your notebook. So integers, these are positive and negative whole numbers. A positive number is any number greater than 0. Negative numbers, those are our numbers that are less than 0. Also write down this number line. So we've got 0 in the middle, positives to the right, negatives to the left. This is a very important thing to note, so make sure you write that down, that 0 is neither negative nor positive. And positive integers, those are the greater than 0. You can write it without a plus sign. So normally we would just see our positive integers without that. However, negative integers, those will have the negative sign in front. Okay, so now we're going to write an integer for each situation, or write a number that shows these situations. So write down the example, so the words here, so that the integer makes sense with what the situation is. So an average temperature of 5 degrees below normal. So if we are below normal, that tells me it's going to be a negative number. So that we would show with the integer -5. An average rainfall of 5 inches above normal, above being a positive, and so you could either write it as +5 or just 5 without the plus sign there, the same thing. Okay, so again, make sure you have the word part written down and the integer to go with it. And then I want you to try these 2 on your own. So pause, try them on your own, and then come back and check to see. So we have 6 degrees above normal, above meaning a positive number. So again, you could do it with a +6, or just as we normally see it, just the number 6. 2 inches below normal, if something is below, that means a negative, so the -2. And again, when we're talking negative integers, you have to have that negative sign on there. Now we are looking at graphing integers on a number line, so draw this number line, and then it's showing us how we would graph them. So 4, it's a positive, so starting at 0, 4 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's our +4. Now, -6, that's a negative, so that's going to the left here at 6 spots past 0 to the left there. And 0, that's right at the middle. That's where we start for all of our counting. Okay. Now we're going to try 2 on our own. Make sure you draw the number line first, and then we'll graph our points. So number line, here's 0. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to mark 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7, -8, -9, -10. Forgot to count where 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's 5. Okay, so plotting these points. -2, that's 2 to the left of 0, 1, 2. 8, we've got 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's really just knowing if we're going to the right or to the left. All positives are going to be going this way, and all negatives are going that way. So -7, I missed the negative sign here. I'm at -5. There we go. So -5, -6, -7. 2 spots past there. And then the other one, again, you should have tried this one on your own. Make sure you've got that number line. I'm going to scroll down just so I have a little bit more space on this one. Here's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, 7, 8, 9, -10. Okay, let's plot these points. We've got -4, so that's going to be 1 right in front of the -5 here. -4. 10, it's a positive, so we're all the way to the right here at 10. -3, that's right before the -5. And then a +7 right here. We have another vocab word here, so make sure you write down the vocab word and the definition. We have absolute value. This is the distance a number is from 0. So the absolute value, again, here is the distance between the number and 0 on a number line. So they're showing us here the absolute value of -5. Well, -5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots away from 0. So that means the absolute value of -5 is 5. And the +5, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 5 spots away from 0 as well. So pretty much it makes negative numbers positive and positive numbers stay positive. So let's try this here. The absolute value of -4. The absolute value is shown with the lines like that on each side as well, and then a number or a problem inside of those absolute value bars. Okay. So the absolute value of -4, well, if we think about a number line, -4 is 4 spots away from 0, so that would be our answer. Okay. Something to note here, absolute value bars are considered grouping symbols, so they fall under the parentheses part of our order of operations. So if we have the absolute value of -5 minus the absolute value of 2, the first thing that we would do is figure out the absolute value of both of these. So -5 is 5 spots away from 0, and the absolute value of 2, well, 2 is 2 spots away from 0, so we're doing 5 minus 2, which is 3. Pause, copy these problems down, and try them on your own before you watch through. Again, those are the absolute value bars. So the first one, the absolute value of 8. If we look at a number line, 8 is 8 spots away from 0, so that would be our answer. Next one, 2 plus the absolute value of -3. Again, we start by doing the absolute value part first before we do any other operations. So we will have 2 plus the absolute value of -3. Well, -3 is 3 spots away from 0. So that's that part there. And then we do 2 plus 3, which is 5. So again, positive numbers are going to stay positive. Negative numbers turn into a positive. Next one, the absolute value of -6 minus 5. Start by finding the absolute value part first. So -6 is 6 spots away from 0. And 6 minus 5 is 1. Okay, again, some things to think about here. When looking at a number line, which directions do you go as the numbers get larger? Okay, as the numbers are getting larger, we're going to the right. As the numbers get smaller, we're going to the left. And so what statement can you make about the organization of a number line? Okay, so then just thinking about how number lines are made up. This again is review from earlier. The positive integers are to the right, negative are to the left. This part we want to make sure we know. Inequality symbols, the less than and greater than symbol. So now we're going to be comparing integers. And when we do that, we think about where they fall on the number line. The bigger number is always going to be to the farthest to the right on the number line, and the smaller numbers are to the farther to the left. So if we were comparing -4 and -2, -4 is farther to the left on the number line, so that means it's a smaller number. -2 is to the right farther on the number line than -4, so that's the bigger number. So just remember our number lines as we are comparing. So if we are comparing two integers here, we're going to replace that circle with the less than or greater than to make the statement true. So if I think about my number line, I'm just going to plot my points here. Here's -5 and here's -3. The bigger number is going to be the one that's farther to the right, which in this case is the -3. Even though -5 has a greater absolute value, 5 compared to 3, but -3 is closer, farther to the right, therefore it's a bigger number. You could think about money. Would you rather owe somebody $5 or $3, or temperature? -5 compared to -3. -3 is going to be a little bit warmer. Okay, so which one's farther to the right? Try the next ones on your own. All right, so try these ones on your own, comparing -8 and -4. I'm going to change my color here. So if I were to use my number line here and graph them, here is -4, and this would be -7, -8. So looking at that, the one that's farther to the right would be the -4, so that's the bigger number. That's the way the symbol is going to open. Again, you could think about temperature. Both of them, -8 and -4, are cold, but -4 would be a little bit warmer than the other one. Now, comparing 5 and -1. Again, if I were to use my number line, here is 5, and here is -1. 5 is farther to the right, so that's going to be our bigger number. Next one, -10 and -13. If we had used a number line, which I'm not going to on this one because it doesn't go that far, -10 is our bigger number. That one's farther to the right than -13. Now we're looking at putting them in order from least to greatest. Again, always pay close attention to what the question's asking, if it's least to greatest or greatest to least. You can use the number line to help you, just thinking about the least is going to be the farthest to the left on the number line, and greatest is going to be farthest to the right. So I'm going to use the number line for the first one, and then we'll try to do some without it as well. So if I plot them all, we have 0, -2, -4, and 3. So the least is going to be the one that's farthest to the left. So -4, and then it would go -2, 0, 3. Making sure that I use each of them on there. Okay. Next one, where we have -7, -9, 11, 14, and -3. Again, the least is going to be the farthest to the left, or the biggest negative number. So looking at my negatives, -9 has the greatest value, so that one is going to be the least. The next biggest negative number would be -7. And then -3, and then 11, and 14. So those will be in order least to greatest. Pause, try the next one on your own, and then come back and check. Again, putting these in order from least to greatest, the least is going to be the biggest negative, which is going to be -8, followed by -1, 2, and 5. Last one here. The biggest negative number is going to be -7, followed by -5, 0, 2, and 3, making sure we are using all the numbers in there. Okay, that's everything on comparing and ordering integers and the absolute value. If you're stuck, go back and rewatch it. Make sure that your notes have the title, the learning target, all the vocab words with definitions, and all those examples written down as well. You can always rewatch, like I said. Make sure you have your notes in class, so put them in your backpack right now to make sure that you have them, and that way you can use them as we're practicing.